ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। In this session, we'll be discussing from the 32nd verse of the 5th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Etat samsuchitam brahman tapatraya chikitsitam yadishware bhagavati karma brahmani bhavitam. The meaning of this verse is, O Brahmana Vyasadeva, it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries is to dedicate one's activities to the service of the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So here is the conclusion of the instruction by the Bhakti Vedantas to Narada. Narada is addressing Vyasadeva, telling about his previous life, and he's telling it is decided by the learned that the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries. This is because from the scriptures we understand, and by our personal experience also, we have knowledge about the miseries of this material existence. Now, people may not disagree that there are miseries, but they will say there are also good things. There is happiness and there is distress. Both are there. But please understand that happiness experienced in material existence, which is called as material happiness, is described in the scriptures as simply another form of misery only. This is a very, very shocking revelation, but it's a fact. What is the nature of this happiness which we experience in this material world? It is called Samsparshaja bhoga. Samsparsha means contact. Contact of the senses with the sense object. For the eyes it is form, for the ears it is sound, for the nose it is smell or fragrance, for the tongue it is taste, and for the sense of touch it is the touch sensation itself. For the perception of the sense of touch. So, this contact produces a kind of a feeling in the mind, and that is interpreted as happiness or distress according to one's conditioning. Anyway, it's a very detailed subject, which I don't want to go into details now, but please understand the essence of material existence is miseries. And generally, for most people, when there is absence of misery or they get relief from some misery, immediate misery, then they consider that as happiness. Real happiness is something else, different from what we experience as material happiness. So therefore, the best remedial measure for removing all troubles and miseries. That is being told here. And this is a very, very important point for everyone to note. It is very of practical utility for everyone in this world. What is it? To dedicate one's activities to the service of the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead. Dedicate all your activities to Krishna, and thereby you become free from all miseries. How does it work? Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that Narad Muni, from his personal experience, he is telling that simply sit and hear the transcendental activities of the Lord, and thereby you become from the right source, from the bona fide source, and thereby you become completely free from all miseries. Now, what if somebody is not able to do that? For that, Narad Muni is giving another solution. People may say, I am very busy working for maintaining my family, for my own maintenance. So, I don't have time to sit and hear. Even if I am able to hear, I can hear a little. I can't hear all the time. So, for such people whose time is mainly engaged in some work for the sake of maintenance, bodily maintenance, or for some responsibility or duty, for such people, Narad Muni is telling that you have to learn from devotees how to dedicate your activities in the service of Krishna. How to do that? So Prabhupada explains in the purport that generally people in this world are struggling very hard to get rid of miseries. Nobody wants miseries. Nobody wants suffering. But they do not know that without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, nobody can become free from miseries. So, 3 examples are given specifically to illustrate this point, that to cure a patient by medical treatment is useless if it is not sanctioned by the Lord. So we know that doctors do help by giving some treatment to a patient who's got an infection or a disease. But doctor also is helpless if the patient does not survive the treatment. Patient doesn't survive the treatment, then the doctor is helpless. Or the particular remedy doesn't work, then the doctor is helpless. So, the point is that sanction of the Supreme Lord is very much necessary for the treatment to be effective. Similarly, another example that is given, to cross the river or the ocean by a suitable boat is no remedial measure if the remedy is not sanctioned by the Lord. So, therefore, the ultimate sanctioning officer is the Supreme Lord, and we must therefore dedicate our activities to the Supreme Lord for ultimate success. Now, how to do that? First of all, we should understand the Lord is present everywhere, and He is all-knowing, and He is all-powerful. Omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. Present everywhere, He is all-knowing, and He is all-powerful. So therefore, we should learn how to dedicate whatever activities we may do to the Supreme Lord. whatever one may be, how should one dedicate whatever activity one is doing? So Prabhupada gives specific examples here. If one is a learned scholar or a learned scientist or a philosopher or poet, he should employ his learning to establish the supremacy of the Lord. This is the purpose of all knowledge, all learning, especially by those who are scholars or scientists or philosophers or poets. They should try to study how the energy of the Lord is working in every sphere of life. The Lord is there, Krishna is there, and his energies are there. So in every sphere of life, the Lord's energies are working. So try to study that. That is what is presented in the Bhagavad Gita, especially in the Bhagavad Gita, how the Lord's energies are working in every sphere of life. Srila Prabhupada further says, do not decry him. Do not try to become like him. Do not try to take his position simply by some little knowledge. No. So one should actually understand the glories of the Lord in terms of how his energies are working in every sphere of life, and establish the supremacy of the Lord through one's writings, through one's knowledge, through one's descriptions, through enlightening others who are ignorant, etc. Next, Prabhupada says, if one is an administrator or a statesman or a warrior or a politician, that is the Kshatriyas, then one should try to establish the Lord's supremacy in statesmanship. Fight for the cause of the Lord as Sri Arjuna did. A warrior should fight for the cause of the Lord. So regarding Arjuna, it is particularly mentioned here that in the beginning Arjuna declined to fight. But when he was convinced by the Lord that the fighting was necessary, then Arjuna changed his decision and fought for the cause of the Lord. Karishye vachanam tava. I'll simply follow your instructions, your directions. So similarly, if one is a businessman or an industrialist, an agriculturist, then one should spend his hard-earned money for the cause of the Lord. How can one do this? Think always that the money which is accumulated is the wealth of the Lord, because wealth is considered Lakshmi or goddess of fortune, and Lord of Lakshmi is Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, husband of Lakshmi. So try to engage the wealth in the service of Lord Narayana and be happy. That is the way to realize the Lord in every sphere of life. Either one works like a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or even a Shudra. Shudra is one who does some menial work for getting some maintenance. So even whatever menial activities one may do, one should try to do it as a service to the Lord. One should think that I am engaged in this particular activity. Of course, the activity has to be should not be a sinful activity. It should be a pious activity. So engage in any pious activity, one should think Krishna is engaging me in this activity. So think of Krishna. Now how to think of Krishna? By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This can be done by everyone. This should be done by everyone. That's the scriptural direction. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Iva Kevalam. In this way, one can actually engage in the service of the Lord, and that way become free from all miseries. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.